The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Yes, one in studio. No in the building.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hello and good evening. Hello, party people, mamas, kids, children, aunties,
All y'all.
uncles, grandmas, grandpas, and everything in between. Welcome to You Got 15 Minutes.
Ooh.
Welcome. If you guys are new with us, sit back, enjoy your time. If you got 15 minutes, you will love us. And if you're new, if you're returning to the show, welcome back. And you guys already know, if you guys want to say anything that's on your mind or anything, you can call in studio 323-815-4204. I am Jay Green. This is G here in the building.
I'm
My
back.
main thing.
You already know. Back with more to say.
So, yes, we are definitely, is it officially, well, nah, I guess it ain't officially spring yet, but like for me in LA life, it's spring.
Well, you already know what I'm going to say.
What is it, best friend?
That the minute February ends and March 1st becomes a thing, it's my birthday. Because my birthday is the 18th. So it doesn't really matter if it's spring or not. Because
It's her birthday.
It's my birthday. So I think the first day of spring, though, is like the 20th.
It's something way hella far from here.
20-something. But it's what's today, the 3rd? It's the 3rd day of my birthday month. So that's what really matters. If you don't remember anything else from this show, just know that in 15 days, a star was born. This right here was brought to you live. So just know that. March 18th. Set it in your calendar. We also have a show the day before, which is St. Patrick's Day. So
Yes. We will be here live for you then.
always. So yeah, let's jump in because we have things that we build up and we be waiting to talk about them, and then we try not to talk about them. Then we end up like trying to like kind of sideway talk about them before we get here, and then we never get to talk about all of them.
Yes.
So today we had to kind of make a few adjustments though, because we were planning on having the fabulous JP back again for round 2, but unfortunately he wasn't able to make it. So we're gonna wing it. So if we seem a little like that's why. We're figuring it out as we go. So starting it off though, we are going to talk about some things that we loved, some things that we hated, some music that we discovered, and some movies and shows that we discovered. So I don't know. I'm going to start off with a show that I saw. No. Let's not talk about the shows yet. Let's wait. Let's
get to the business.
Let's wait. Let's talk about serious stuff first. Because
Yeah,
sometimes
let's
we
get
start
to-
on
yeah.
stuff that's really like, we be like, ah! And then we forget to talk about adult-like situations. So
Hello.
before we get back to that, see, I told you we were going to have some bumps. So let's talk about the insurrection real quick. The hearing, I should say. So I don't know if a lot of you guys have been following it. If you have, call us 323-815-4204. I want to talk about it as usual. We want to hear about it. Don't be scared to call. Nobody can see you. You're just on the radio.
We won't bite.
We won't bite, and we promise we'll make it easy and fun.
Right.
So the insurrection hearing. So I haven't watched a lot of it. I'm kind of embarrassed to say I haven't really followed.
Yeah,
it,
I
but
wasn't able to. 'Cause I've been at work.
yeah,
so.
and it's during hours when I'm at work, so I can't really watch it all the time. But today, I happened to be watching it while I ate breakfast, and when I tell you, I can't even remember what this woman's name is, but this white woman they have up there asking these fucking idiots questions, she's
the
making
one, huh?
I need to figure out her name tomorrow. I'm going to watch some more of it tomorrow because it's like the no bullshit of 2021. She was asking questions that were like, you felt stupid trying to figure out an answer. I felt dumb for them. So it was the people that she was I guess examining was the like Department of Homeland Security like advisor or director or whatever. Who she looked like she was ready to pee on herself and cry. She looked so nervous and she looked so scared. Like a
dog when they get in trouble.
At one point she was sitting like this, and I could see her hands. Like I could see the grip. And then the other woman that was examining her was like saying something, and she was going. And then there's a moment when, like, I guess they're asking these questions to whomever of you is going to answer. So it's like the Department of Homeland Security. It was like I don't know what he is, but he's some sort of general because he's wearing a decorated outfit, and he's pretty much in charge of deploying the National Guard. It was the like Secretary of Defense or something, and like 3 other people that all were in charge of our security for the country. And the woman that was asked, she was this blonde woman. If you know her name, anybody, if you know who I'm talking about, please call us and tell us her name, because I was so caught up in how she was rating them that I didn't even check out her name. Because I was just like, bitch, I need you. Right. When there's things going on. She needs to be
your fixer, huh?
Oh, like legit. So she was like, they used so many words and it was so fast and it was so like, magnanimous that I was like, I barely understand. I was like, let's trying to figure out Spanish, and I was like, you know some words, but you don't know enough, but you know enough to be like, oh, they talking about oranges, right? Like they talking about
reading the back of like a nutrition label or something.
So she pretty much asked them, like it was like if I said, so you needed permission to deploy the National Guard, you needed approval from someone, and they're like, yes, and then she's like, so you needed approval from them for this, but this particular thing, saving the Capitol, doesn't fall into that category of stuff that you would need permission for. So why didn't you deploy? And they were kind of like, and then they asked it was like she was something to do with the FBI. I just remember her last name is Sanborn, and she had a Karen haircut, and she
Not with the Karen special with the bang
and highlights and shit. It was Karen circa 1999. It was Johnny K plus 8 Karen. Yeah, it was her. Anyways, but dark. Anyway, so more importantly, they asked her. They were like, "Yeah, you run the FBI. Y'all are looking at tweets, looking at buzzwords. Y'all are looking at all this.
Your hot list.
Y'all are doing all this shit on the internet all day. This is pretty much my summarization of what this white woman said to this other white woman, and I was dying smoking my blunt. Okay, I was dying this morning at like 9 o'clock. Like, oh, this is amazing. This is exactly the kind of television I needed.
The energy I needed in 2020.
Oh my god, it was the greatest way.
2021
because they had nothing to say. She was like, you pretty much sit and your whole job, FBI, is to find out about shit before it happens.
Everybody else knows.
And you guys can find out all this other shit, but you guys couldn't figure out that they was going to bring weapons and shit to the front of our house. And the girl's like, oh, well, we get tips and stuff like this all day. And if we responded to every type of, if we responded to everything like this every single day,
hoax or whatever.
Yeah, it's like we never know. And she was on some like, but there's tweets. She's like, but there's this. Then Senator Feinstein came in. I don't know if she had spoken earlier, but she made it seem like she had been waiting that entire time and just been like taking everything in, because she said, I've been sitting here listening and trying to find an answer from which all motherfuckers
been in the mix for a minute, so she knows what's up.
It was like they were in there spreading dog shit across the floor. And Feinstein was like, I'm not going to step on that.
I see which behind it came
from. I know you put that there. Like, it was just, so she goes, she pretty much was like, so you're saying that you didn't know that it was going to happen on March 6th, but y'all sent out this memo on the 4th that y'all knew something was going to happen between the 5th and the 6th. So explain to me why, because then somebody else was like, oh, well, I couldn't tell anybody to deploy because it happened between this time and this time. And we didn't find out until like 30 minutes later.
We were off.
And then somebody
We
else
were on
was like,
lunch.
well, and then because he didn't know, and then we got to get permission from him. And so I didn't do it. And then the other lady, she in the corner like this, like drinking her water all So I know I probably should have made fun, but it was fucking great television, okay?
Right.
Because watching these people sweat, because it's true. You guys they will find anything else on the internet. You guys will like...
Period.
Well, they're watching everything that you're saying, and then these whole groups of people, like the memo was like the FBI bitch literally said, "Yeah, we knew they was bringing guns, but we thought they was gonna shoot amongst each other." She literally said, "We knew they were bringing, they were bringing stuff, but we didn't think they was gonna attack us. We thought they was gonna fight each other, and we was just gonna watch. So we were like on alert for that, but we didn't think anything was gonna happen.
We didn't think they were coming here."
So then they're just up there making complete asses of themselves.
Right. They thought they could watch from their office window. Like, wow.
Yo.
They really are running amok down there.
It was insane. But then you get to that point when you're watching that type of shit where you're like, then you realize you snap out of the comedy of it and you're like, this is really happening. And she's really up there asking you these questions. And you guys look just as stupid as the person at McDonald's that you're like, did you put extra pickles? And they're like,
or our former president. Because it's like, y'all out here looking like when you ask 5 brothers and sisters, who did it?
Exactly.
And then they're all like, there's the one that's like, yo, I'm going to buckle. Somebody say something.
Somebody's going to snitch.
You know? And it's like, what? And y'all are grown. And these are the people in charge of our country. So what are y'all really worth when y'all couldn't get up here and speak for yourself?
She asked the girl who was, I think her last name is Smirsloff, something like that. And she was doing like this. She asked her, like there's a process or I forgot what exactly she asked her. She was like, but how does this go? Basically, like, you're a part of that team that figures this out. Explain to me how that works. She went, me and my team are we control a very small part of what actually happens. So, I'm very happy to bring the Secret Service or CIA in here to explain it to you furthermore, madam, because I don't feel comfortable. And she went, so if there's a bunch of processes and a bunch of things that go along with that, I need you to explain them to me so that I can understand why you guys didn't deploy anybody. Mm-hmm. And she was also like, it was so, I was just like, oh my God, it was amazing. It made me upset. It made me laugh. And it made me, but at the end of it, I was really like, this whole thing is a sham. It's all run by clowns, and it's a shit show. And
yeah, it's like putting your homies in court. You're like, hey, so why'd you do it? And then they're like, I don't know. And you're like, you don't know?
You sure?
They're like, we were there. You know. We
were
all there together.
Yeah. No, and they're all sitting there going, how are we supposed to answer this when we're all in on it together? And then they can't all be like, well, Trump said not to send anybody.
Then
they can't say
coming.
that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then there's something that they said something though that there was something written that has to get approval from someone to not send help. And it's like, I think it was either Feinstein or it was the woman that was reading everybody that was like, she was like, when has an order to basically request military help ever needed a personal approval from someone? Right. She's like, doesn't that sound odd to you that to not have to not have anybody deployed in the moment of need had to be personally approved by somebody? Like, why would that even happen? And so everybody up there was pretty much going, well, we learned so much from this and we realized that we need to figure out more. We're going to do so much better next time because we just thought that we were prepared. And it was like, you were prepared because you thought they were going to fight each other. And
that sounds like exactly what they said about coronavirus, and here we are, 500,000 deaths.
And then
later.
he kept asking the FBI woman, which I would think, you guys are going to trial on TV in front of the whole world to defend why you didn't defend the country, and you don't even have your shit together. That's like this might as well have been an episode of People's Court with Judge Million, where they get up there and they don't have anything to say, and they're just like, well, where's your proof? Do you have a phone record? Do you have a bill? Do you have anything signed? And they're like, no, she said it on the phone. And then they're like, oh, well, you know, and they dismiss it. It was pretty much the same thing because he was asking her, Okay, so, you guys have charged 300 people with the insurrection. Do you know how many of those people are what's the percentage or the difference of people that are getting charged with trespassing, or people that are what is the breakdown of what those 300 people are getting charged with, pretty much? And what's the highest one? What's the highest charge and that people have received? Not necessarily what's the worst, but what's the most? Did more people get trespassing than more people got, whatever? Yeah. So she was like, well, I don't really have those numbers at this time. He said, well, how many guns were seized? And she was like, none. He was like, well, how many shots were fired that day? And she was like, she literally said, to my knowledge, only the woman that got shot, that woman. And he was just kind of like, so you don't have any, I wanted to ask her, so what are you guys doing?
In the Capitol and y'all don't know what happened?
And y'all don't know how many, y'all don't even know. And you got up here to defend how smart you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be taking care of this and how you learned from this happening a month ago.
They're like,
but you still don't know how many people, and you still don't you can't sit there and be like, most of these people were charged with this. She goes, that's what we're still trying to figure out. But you could charge 300 people, but you don't know what you charge them with.
They picked the short stick, and they had to be the one to go up there and go get interviewed, or I guess it's not an interview, huh?
You're getting examined.
Yeah, you're getting examined.
It was so embarrassing. That's what it was. It was embarrassing. But nonetheless, it made for great television. I learned a lot about how they don't know shit, and I could get up there and run. And I'd probably make a better presidente or a better senator
right.
or a better congresswoman or anything else that I'm going to purposely mispronounce.
Right.
So,
Grannies for Congresswomen 2020.
Hey. But we're going to get it done.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting that, the one time that I decided to turn it on and watch it, it was a fucking shit show.
What a time to be
and
alive.
What a time to be alive. Watch this white woman she just ripped them. And they were when the woman started doing like this, and I was looking at her hands
it's
like.
provocative. It gets the people going.
Man. So if you don't, if you don't get anything else from watching it, maybe you don't like politics, you think it's boring. That shit's not that boring. When this
right.
It's not that boring. It was pretty amazing.
Real life.
It was real life.
Especially when it's live too. It's like, yes. There's no delay on this.
There's none. It was just pure idiocracy, and I was here for it.
And then it's
but
like
I'm also
the angles,
sad about
they're
it.
like, boom.
Yeah.
Boom. They're shook. Boom. They want answers. Boom. They're
and
back still shook.
The cold part is that at one point the cameraman, it wasn't even like here and then boom, you're at the next shot. That motherfucker was literally panning. He was literally like, wait. And there's no time.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were like 2 cameras in there because they just kept jump. And I was like, oh, this is lit. Like, you're getting them when they're shuffling their papers and they're just like,
right.
So, Madam Chairman,
blah, blah, yeah. Fake answer that I can't.
It was lit. So anyway, that was my take on what I watched this morning, Insurrection, because it was amazing. It was amazing. Great TV. And I suggest that everybody watch some of it because you never know.
I've seen a few clips, but it's like I like to see. I need to see the theatrical build. I like to see all of it. I like to see the crinkles in the faces. I need to see
all that,
all the reactions. I want to see those small.
All that.
When the answer gets when the question goes, their face
slightly
just drops like.
The whole time.
Oh, my stomach gurgled a little bit just now.
Yeah.
But
and then they had them side by side so you can see as she's saying, and they're going.
Oh, they split screened.
It was great.
What I'm talking about.
It was amazing. So, that was, I just felt like I needed to talk about that because we haven't really talked about Trump. We've kind of left him alone.
Yeah, we've left him alone.
But every once in a while, I got to come in there and just, talk about it.
Because these are people that run our country, regardless of even now Trump's not there, they are. And you see how he had them acting out in the world, out there raging the Capitol, and they're over here like, we don't know how many guns. But the military showed up when Black Lives Mattered. The military showed up when everybody was rioting out here, or all over the country, really. The military was there then. It wasn't like, well, who called everybody? Who told y'all to come? They were out here. They had every branch. Everywhere.
Everybody out
so it's
here.
Like, okay. But I feel like now it's to the point where, like you said, if you don't watch it, everyone I think at this point has seen something either on TV or experienced something in real life or like on TV via the riots or something like that that makes them feel to take one stance on it or the other. Like either you're like, nah, the police did me like this, you know, like you have your own personal experience, or it's like, okay, no, I like the politics side of it, you know, I want to see it in a deep. But I feel like everybody at this point, you can't like be neutral. Deny it. You know what I'm saying? You can't. There's no way you can just be like, you know, they're good guys, but yeah, you know, they don't do the right thing. It's like, nah, pick a side. Right. Because nowadays it's too much going on that people are just like, now people just bold with their disrespect. And now the internet is out here, so it's like people getting exposed, like how before we were talking about all those people getting fired and all that stuff. Like, yeah, the internet got y'all caught up. This ain't the 80s and 90s when y'all could talk mess and didn't nobody know. Nobody know. And it was on somebody's little VHS recorder. And now it's on the internet and you viral before the end of the day. And you're fired the next morning when you go to work. So it's like,
you're viral within your lunch break.
Thanks, internet.
Okay, thank you.
Because the internet does wonders, y'all. Right. Be finding people.
The internet is what's getting all these people arrested for the insurrection. But kudos to all those people that took those bomb-ass pictures and that got themselves caught. And, you know, because now you're going down in history. But enough about the insurrection. Let's get back to the fun stuff, because that was our little important part that I want to talk about, because if we'll get caught up just talking about all this extra stuff, we'll keep going. Y'all know we'll keep going. But if you want to go with us, call us 323-815-4204. Okay. Movies, music, all the new fun stuff. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
We can do one and one.
Okay. So my show. So, well, not my show. Kinda. So one of my shows came back on. We'll just start there. Snowfall. Okay. I know you don't watch it.
I mean, I started watching it originally in the first season, but like I got probably most of the way through, and then I just kind of like, man, I started watching something else and I don't finish it.
It's so good, and it finally came back on. I'm not going to spoiler alert because I barely watched episode 2 yesterday, and the new episode come on tonight, and I'm probably going to watch it in the morning when it come on at 12. But it came back on. If you guys don't know, Snowfall comes on FX. It's a show. They don't officially say that it's about Ricky Ross's life, but it is, and it's about how crack made its way into LA. Shit's getting real, y'all. It's a great show. It'll have you definitely on the edge of your seat, definitely waiting for the next episode, definitely trying to watch any type of trailer, any type of anything, just to see what kind of shit is going to go down, because it's filmed out here, obviously, and it just takes you back to, I mean, we were little, but you still, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's super, I like time period pieces. I know you do too. So if you're one of those people that, you know, still wants to watch like a shoot 'em up movie.
I like my LA stuff too.
So it's really great. The actor that plays the main character, Franklin, I forget his name, but he's a British actor. He's amazing. His fun fact is that his vocal coach was Exhibit.
Really?
Yeah. And it's a really great show. It just came back on like the 24th of February. So it's been on for like two weeks now. Yeah. But it's really great. I'm really happy it came back on. It's definitely worth having a COVID friendly viewing party. Or Zoom,
or watch it together, right?
Party.
Zoom,
watch it together, and then time. You know, just be on a Zoom or start a room on Facebook. I don't know, but
or maybe Zoom after you guys all watch the episode and then like talk about it.
But it's really good, and I was really happy because it was off because of COVID. Everything took like a year off. So and then it's one of those things where because John Singleton was the director, and then he passed. Yes. So then the third season came out.
I forgot about that. He was the one that directed
R.I.P. The third season came out because it was already. I feel like it was already almost finished filming. So they finished it out, but then we didn't know if we were going to get a season 4 because he was gone. And then they made the announcement maybe a couple months ago that it was coming back out, and everyone was freaking out. So I'm happy it came back.
Yeah,
I can feel the difference. It's gotten, but then I don't know if that's just me being critical of the movie. I mean, of the show, or because of the direction that history, with the show is going in. Like that, I'm like, we're going a little bit, you know. But I'm still totally into it. So yeah, it's great. You should start watching. You should just give it a second chance.
Well, see, my thing is just the commitment. I can't commit. Like, I can't binge. Or, like, I'll get to the point where I binge it, and I'll just become this long movie. So then when I want to start it again, I'm like, I need to watch it over. I'm like, I forgot the good parts. I'm going to miss a thing because I forgot the one little key part of this. And then I want to watch it over. And then by that time, I fall asleep. And then it's like, then I'm on to the next show after that, and I can't. So it's like the commitment of watching it. And then if it comes on, like the shows that debut weekly or, like, bi-weekly.
Because they still do it like TV.
Yeah, when they do it like TV, that messes Granny up.
What do you mean? It's just back to old school.
I can't sit and wait for the one day to watch the show.
Well, no, but then you can watch it the next day.
But I'm saying, still, but even consistently, it's I forgot.
See, sometimes I make myself wait. When it comes out weekly, I'll make myself wait so that I can watch 2 episodes at one time.
Gotcha.
But then I don't like the spoilers. Yeah. You know, then that's what fucks you up. And then trying to talk about it like here
and
or anything.
I hate spoilers.
Sometimes I like talking about that. But anyway.
No, I'm just saying. But some people respectfully, they've got their film and movie entertainment etiquette and they know how to describe. And then some people get the dirty pleasure of spoiling things. And then
I don't know how to describe.
Please shut up.
I will give you the whole synopsis.
I
will explain
she's gonna give you the overall,
entire movie.
Give you play-by-play.
And I know that I do that.
And then they give you this is why I recommend it to you.
Yeah. Because there's a reason. And I know that I have to do it. But then I have to be like, sometimes I have to gauge it on how interested you are in me telling you. Because if you're not interested, then I'm going to tell you the whole shit. And then you don't have to go watch it, bitch. Because you wasn't even interested in the first place.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you the end. But if you seem slightly like, what? You might watch it? Yeah, if you might watch it, then I'll be like, girl, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. And then maybe I won't tell you all.
But you usually know the things that I will or won't watch.
But I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about in general. Like, if people are like, then I'm gonna be like, oh, well, now I can just explain to you.
Yeah, because you're not gonna watch
it. Yeah, you're not gonna watch it.
I can tell you
so
everything.
Now I can just talk about it.
That's how I feel too. I feel like if I know you're not gonna watch it, I'm like, let me just ruin it for you because, but I feel like there's those kind of people that need to know a little bit. Like you got to hook, line, sink them, and then because they know, they're like, well, let me see what it's about. Like they're the people that will watch it even though they know everything that's gonna happen. Yeah, because then they're just like, well, let me see if what she says is right.
You know what really pisses me off is when you tell somebody like, and you already know, I stay finding stuff out way before it's popping. I stay finding music and sharing it with all of my goofy ass friends, and then they be like, that's so dope. And I'm like, yeah, I found out about Russ 7 months before he came out. Yeah, I'm never gonna, y'all don't know because we weren't here yet. But when I find shows, and I find especially TV shows and stuff on Netflix, like stuff that's like you binge it out and you're like, holy shit. I hate when I find something and then y'all monkey asses want to come back hell later talking about, oh yeah, I've seen this. And I'm like, I told you to watch that like 6 months ago. And then you want to sit there and have this whole conversation with me about it. And I'm like, I don't care.
You're like, that was 6 months ago.
I watched it 6 months ago when it was popping.
Like, I barely remember.
And I hate that about Netflix because I'll watch some of those movies that all of a sudden start trending 6 months later. Like Money Heist. Me and Silas, shout out. We were watching Money Heist in the beginning of the quarantine. And the second it dropped.
Really?
We watched all of it. We watched it in like 2 weeks. It was like 6 episodes, like 6 seasons because they did this weird part 2 of whatever. So it was like all these hella episodes. We watched all of it. No one cared. No one cared about Money Heist until it was almost over, when like it was like the show was almost over and the internet went crazy and they all discovered it, and then it was Spanish, it's from Spain, it's a Spanish show, so it was dubbed in English, so it had shitty whatever, it was pretty good, but no, not subtitles, it was dubbed. It had shitty dubbing, voiceovers, but it was like still a really fucking great show. And then the internet exploded and discovered it. And everybody's been talking about it. And me and Silas are like, nigga, we watched that shit in April. It's been almost a year. Like, we watched it in April.
Deadass, a year later.
And so I'm mad that the rest of the world is like, season 5's coming back. Whoop de whoop. And I'm over here like, nigga, I've been waiting for season 5 since April 30th.
I mean, that's how I feel because I watch all the movies everybody don't watch, period. And it's like, did anybody see? And they be like, nah, ain't nobody. And I'm like,
so,
but it's about such and such.
So what did you watch? Tell the people what you watched.
So
Now's your opportunity.
I saw this movie on, and it's not new. So it's funny, but it was new to me because I didn't. And okay, so the movie is called Burden. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, so it stars Forest Whitaker and Usher, which I was like, how did I not find out about this? Because Usher was in it, but I guess I didn't. So that's when I really felt old, but that's neither here nor there. The movie's called Burden. It came out in 2018. The idea of it is that Forest Whitaker plays a pastor. They are in Alabama, I want to say, or Georgia. I think it was Alabama. The idea is that this young guy who's like kind of like orphaned or something, he connects with this older white gentleman, and they're Klans members. They're Ku Klux Klan members, right? And he doesn't have a father figure, whatever. This guy comes as a father figure. They purchased this old, like apparently racist movie theater and try and turn it into a Ku Klux Klan museum.
Oh, wow.
And then Forest Whitaker and black community are upset about it. They're like, no, picketing and all the stuff. He goes...
Don't explain the whole movie.
Right.
You're taking too long. That's not a synopsis. That's not a synopsis. So a white guy, I mean, you said, so they buy a movie theater, try to make it into a Ku Klux Klan membership. Black people say no. Does it cause a whole uproar in the thing, and that's the movie?
No, it causes an uproar. The thing is that the guy tries to like separate his life from the Klansmen, and he ultimately ends up living with Forest Whitaker.
You just told the whole movie.
No,
you told the end. You told the end.
It's not because that's not the end.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's like
that's the bigger picture.
The big like catalyst or like the big shift of the movie. But it goes into. But it was interesting because Usher played like a father. He played a father of a young boy, and then the guy is like trying to get his life together for this girl that he meets, and pretty much he's like he would be the up and coming like head Klansman later in life, and then at the point where you're trying to now step away from it, and it's like this whole epic like struggle between him and the community, and like this whole thing of like how he realizes like he gets shits on by like the whole area, and then he ends up staying in this black family's house. So then it's like,
So how old is this movie?
2018.
Oh, it's not that old. I thought it was super old.
Not super old, but like old that I was like, how did I not hear about this? Like,
because it didn't do well.
Yeah, and I think it might have even just like came out straight to either DVD. Like Netflix. It was on I think HBO Max, but it's still like I don't know when it came out. So I thought it was newer, but then when I like looked into it, I was like, oh, it came out in 2018. Like, oh, okay, but I think it's definitely a must watch because it's kind of like it's different and it's a time period movie, like not super, but I want to say it's like late 80s, early 90s. I want to say I got like early 90s vibes from it, but it's like in the South. So yeah, they're still kind of like, it's like sticks.
Shout out to the South.
Right. Whoop, whoop. I need to go. I need to catch flights, not feelings. I'm coming on. But it was very interesting and it like had me thinking and it's like very emotionally gripping, like it kind of like brings you into some aspect of it because you're like, oh, there's parts you're just like, come on, but like it was really good. And like Usher, he's kind of like one of those in between, like I want to say maybe a C actor, like as far as actors.
And now he's old because we haven't seen him in how long?
And that's why he was like the daddy figure. Yeah, and I was just kind of like, okay.
Wasn't the last movie he was in like that shit where they were like in college and niggas was shooting each other?
He was in high school, and they like. What was it where they...
I don't remember.
The school was shut down and they were like trying to like shoot out with the police.
Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, I'm like, this is a big comeback, Usher. Okay.
And then it was Forest Whitaker too. So I think Forest Whitaker kind of like pulled it along.
Of course he did.
I forgot what... It's the white boy that's in like all this other stuff.
There's a bunch of white boys in all kinds of stuff.
He's one of the ones, y'all. So
he's one of the white boys. Should be like, oh, it's you.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I knew his name. Maybe I'll look it up later.
Maybe won't. It's okay.
Y'all know he a little cute. He's like the usual little white trash joint they put in the little movies. But It was good. It was a lot of hillbilly shit going on. Y'all. It was a lot of redneck shit. So I'm not even gonna say it's not. It was a lot of just like, oh. And it was like, now thinking back, it was kind of Tyler Perry-ish with the little setups of the hair and like, you know, it was a little like, okay. But honestly, I just felt like they were trying to show the burnt outness of that, of what was really going on. It wasn't really like, oh, we couldn't do it. We just chose not to because they wouldn't do it. You know, like now they look raggedy in real life, so we ain't gonna make them look that nice. And I think it was based on a true story or something.
And you said this was on what? This is on HBO Max?
Yes. Burden. 2018. Forrest
Usher,
Whitaker.
baby.
Usher. The other little white boy.
And the other little white boy.
The other little white boy.
As you can see, our choices of movies are drastically different as I'm going to stay in the same crime era realm of drugs and violence. I also discovered another movie of that sort on Netflix called Operation Odessa. Oh, it was so lit. It was like a documentary though. So I'm like a super nerd for a documentary about some drug shit. I really am. Like I really enjoy watching all these people make all this money back in the day, and they were just out here like
going back and telling the story,
and how these people did all this shit and made all this money,
right? With no cell phones,
with no cell phones, with a pager and a mullet. And dirty tennis shoes. They were just out here
and a fanny pack
and a gun, literally though. And like my brain, I don't know why I have such an affinity for these type of things, because between Operation Odessa, between like Narcos and like all of those type of shows, I am such a sucker. So once again, I found something of that sort and I got in it. So I'm gonna tell you guys. The trailer had me because it was just this fat white dude, come to find out was like Cuban, but he looked white. And I'm like, what's this white guy talking about? And he's talking about buying submarines from somebody. And he's like, literally, I didn't hear if like, and the trailer was probably like a minute and a half, maybe something like that. But it's just him. It's just this one monologue of him talking. And he's like, some. So I put in an order for submarines, and the guy said, okay, do you want a submarine with missiles or no missiles? And I was like, nigga, missiles? The fuck they finna blow up? So then I was hooked. I watched the whole thing. So it's pretty much about this Russian guy, this Cuban guy, a Cuban-American guy, and then a Cuban guy, like a Ricky Ricardo Cuban guy, because they're two there, like a Ricky and like a fucking güero and a Russian guy. How in the 80s they were purchasing and selling these like airplanes, helicopters,
trains, and automobiles.
Everything you could think of. And then how they stole $10 million from the Cali cartel and got the fuck away with it. When I tell you, I want to tell y'all this whole movie. I want to tell y'all this whole movie so bad. Oh my God. But that's, and I'm not spoiler alerting. I'm not spoiler alerting you that I'm gonna do that, because that in the little synopsis it tells you they got away. So I'm telling you what it says on the thing. But it's these three, and the three guys are not dudes that you're like, oh yeah, y'all are homies. Like they're not the same type of dudes, and they all come together. They don't do any time, or they do, but they get out. One of them is still on the run and has been on the run, nigga, for 30 years from the government and from the Cali cartel. He ran off on the plug twice.
I was gonna say, they over here talking about El Chapo and this guy.
Speaking of El Chapo, that's one part that I will give you part of this movie, because I feel like everybody knows who fucking El Chapo is, and everybody knows how big he is in this time, and the role that he plays in still to this day of why we have drugs in every country.
His wife just got caught up
too. I know. So this, in order to conduct one of these deals that they had, they were getting some helicopters from Russia, and they pretty much flew over there. They had a plane that opened from the nose went up, and it was just fully like a carrying vessel. And the plane, I don't remember the name of the plane or what it was, but the Russian guy was explaining it that it's bigger than a 747. This was like in 86 or 85 or some shit. And inside of this airplane, this massive like spruce goose, whatever that airplane was like, you know what I'm talking about? That big, huge anyway, I think that's the plane that J. Edgar Hoover had. That big. Anyway, that's us.
Gotcha. Like a half plane, half military.
Yeah,
thing. I imagine those ones that the guys jump out of. You know,
kind
when
of.
It opens and then they like jump out.
But you know how big they are. Is my point, because they can carry all that shit. Yeah. That's how big this regular plane was, and it had 2 helicopters inside of it. And I'm not talking about a little LAPD helicopter. I'm talking about military-sized choppers inside of it. So they flew to Russia like, okay, yeah, we're going to pick up these helicopters. They get on they get on the plane. The plane goes to take off. And these Russian mobsters come with guns and are like, y'all niggas ain't taking these planes out of Russia for free. What y'all thought? Get them off the plane. The guy is like, the dude that is the Russian dude that's coordinating this whole thing in hopes of getting those Russian mobsters off their ass. He says, well, this is a deal for El Chapo. So you trying to have that problem or not? Like, pretty much. And he's like, oh, it's for El Chapo? Oh, we trying to do some business with this nigga too. Put him on the phone. So then they're like, okay. And they have to call the white boy that I said, the Wedo in Cuba, and he has to pretend like he is El Chapo. And so the guy's like, the Russian dude's like, yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but back in the day, he looked like El Chapo. They were both fat and they had this face, and you would never know that that's not him. And I'm like, nigga, they thought, and they put them side by side. They put their pictures, and he low-key looked like an El Chapo without like a beard. Yeah. So, and they were like the same kind of like little body build or whatever. And so the guy's like, you just have to be El Chapo, and this will happen. So they fly the white boy to wherever they were meeting up at, and they meet with somebody else that knows he's faking it as El Chapo, but he's on, and when they get, it's on some like, nigga, you're not El Chapo. What's up, brother?
Give me up?
And they're hugging, and the guy tells him in his ear, act tough. Just don't say shit else. If you say anything, just act like you are the hardest, biggest motherfucker in here. Don't do, and he's telling all this in his ear while they're embracing. And then he's just like, all right, so dude said he just was out there like, I didn't say too much. I just acted how I thought he would act. And niggas got the deal. They did a deal lying that they were El Chapo. Bro, my mind was blown. I was like, is this real? And that was like midway in the show. So after that, I was like, I mean, I was already hooked. But after that, I was like, I need to know how this ends, because you just faked being El Chapo.
Right.
To some other people and some other people who are like, I ain't even gonna stall you out, bro. Go ahead, let's embrace it. You just do what you gotta do.
I don't know if El Chapo sent you as his little side person.
So then that, if that doesn't already get you interested in those two things, like if you're a buff for these type of movies and type of documentaries, because it's a documentary, it's not even a movie. So it's all three of
episodes.
It's no, it's one. It's like just like an hour and something. It's and it's these 3 people's accounts and how they all worked together and made this shit happen. How much money they used to have. And the one guy that I said is like a Ricky Ricardo Cuban. He literally is still on the run. They met him in Africa on a runway somewhere. They wouldn't even say where he was. They conducted the interview.
So they did get him for an interview?
They conducted an interview on a plane in Africa in a hangar. They wouldn't even tell you where it was. Because it was
no background, no nothing.
Nothing. They didn't show anything. They had him in a hangar. All you could see was like a fucking like giraffe outside, like walking around. It was like nothing. And I was like, this is. And then what's even better is that they interview the 2 white boys first, the Russian dude and the other dude, and they're talking to them first. You don't even know the way the documentary is set up. You're thinking that this third person they're talking about is probably dead or probably in jail or something like that. So then when they're like, do you think he would give us an interview? Both of them are like, hell no. Nope. And then they cut to this nigga in a plane like doing the interview.
We got the interview.
It was amazing. It was so like if you liked that movie Cocaine Cowboys, then you would love this. Like, if you liked any of those type of interviews, and if any of that type of shit grasps you, because to me, it's like history, but it's like, that shit just happened.
Yeah, it's not that long ago.
It's not that long ago. It just happened, and the effects of that are still
that money.
very much flowing through our country, and a lot of shit that happens within our community is directly because of that. So, like, if you got the people, I don't know, just like niggas that think they know shit about the government and think and all this stuff and how it's like a plot. Like, if you're not thinking about all those countries that they infiltrated and how we shifted guns and money and drugs all through these countries, and you don't think that we're faulty, or you don't think that there's so much more going on. It's not about your boy and your connect who's got the work and who's doing this. It ain't about him. It's not about Franklin. You on Snowfall. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so far beyond that, and it's like literally the dude next door. It's the neighbor next door that drives a regular ass Mercedes that has like kids. That's a regular ass person that is like was big, real one. No, was big doing shit back in the day, and you're like, what? You're like, but that's Bill.
You're like, you drive a minivan.
You're like, that's Bill though. Yeah. Like, he walks his dog every Sunday and he plays golf with my dad. And you're like, nah, that nigga was a whole mobster, had like millions of dollars and had people on the street doing stuff for you, or was moving submarines and moving helicopters from Russia. I don't know. I love that shit. I love it. So go watch Opera. We took way too long talking about our shows.
Right?
Because I knew, and that's why I want to talk about the insurrection first, because I knew we was going to do this. So now we only got a little bit to talk about the last one. What's the other show?
So what we going to talk about, and what the street's been talking about, is Malcolm and Marie. So, if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, I would suggest watching it. I like to watch things sometimes that people talk about watching. I really don't like to ride the film wave of everybody else. So, because I be watching African movies and all kind of other stuff.
She watches African movies.
I primarily
all the movies from Lagos.
Shout out to Nollywood. Thank you. Because they gets me through. But Malcolm and Marie. Literally, I started rethinking my friendships with everybody that posted that shit was good. Period. Because I was bored 10 minutes in.
You were bored before you were triggered? You were bored?
It was
kind of, they drug it on.
20 minutes in, I'm like, if y'all don't give me something, I was like, all right, I'm going to turn it off.
They gave it to you.
I said, I have an hour left?
Yeah.
I was literally counting down how much time was left throughout the whole movie.
They showed you in the first 5 minutes what the whole movie was going to be. So you chose to sit there through that.
I had to.
No, I know. But that's what they did. They got us with like, okay, it's been 10 minutes of this. It's got to change. Okay, it's been 30 minutes of this. It's got to change. It's been 50 minutes of this. It's got to change. And then it never changed.
No, it didn't. And, there goes my earring, people. Well,
and I thought it was going to be me, y'all.
It was me. Anyway, see, it didn't like Malcolm and Marie either.
Yeah, it said, I don't want to talk about this segment.
Yeah.
Woo! And it jumped.
But I feel like the movie was boring. I feel like they were trying to be epic and they fell short. I feel like they just, like, not even, okay, I won't even give them that. They didn't just miss the mark. Like, they missed the mark. Like, they were supposed to go this way for epicness, and then they were like, and went that way, because I felt like all the little angles they were trying to do and the little dark shadows they was in and down at the hallway and all the stuff, it was not doing what it was supposed to do. Because all I felt like, I was watching my janky two friends that go together fight. And
that's what was happening.
But it's like, oh, it's time for me to go, y'all. Like, that's when you leave.
Yeah.
You don't sit there. Yeah. It's like the stuff you don't want to hear people talking about that they're talking about. Because honestly, I felt like even that argument was fake. Yeah. Y'all wasn't petty enough.
No.
Y'all wasn't intense enough. Y'all weren't into it. And I felt like it was like, oh, you did this. It was like a theater class reenactment scenario. Y'all do, this is the scene. You guys just came back from your film thing and whatever. And personally, as far as the actual movie, I feel like the way it was written, the conflicts that they had, I think the reason why people like that is their attraction to toxicity.
Yeah, they related to the toxicity.
And I feel like it normalizes it for
It
people.
totally did.
And I feel like it preyed on people's triggers. And I feel like it was literally a sad adaptation of the representation of what people's sorry ass relationships are now, just on TV. Because I feel like how it was that movie, it was about his movie and being thanked. I feel like you could have inserted, why'd you like that girl's picture? Why didn't you post me on your social media?
I think that was the point.
You? But that's why I feel like this is it's not, there's no substance. If you can do that, then what is the uniqueness of this? If I could fill that in with any conflict and y'all could have this same low-key setup of the argument.
I like that what you said about you could insert, why'd you like this girl's picture? I feel like that point of the movie was kind of like how, what was that movie about the little girls? And it was like the whole point of the movie.
Sweeties, cuties.
Whatever that was. I feel like it was kind of the same thing. It just didn't hit the mark like you said. So start there. But I feel like it was the same type of, that's what they were going for, is to like show you the ugly truth, to like, it was like a mirror of what goes on in everybody's little daily bullshit relationships. Mm-hmm. But what I don't like about it is that it didn't show a healthy resolution. Yeah. It didn't show a healthy ending. It literally showed, oh, my boyfriend does that bullshit too, or my girlfriend does that bullshit too. We could insert any kind of little fight and the dialogue would have still been the same. And at the end of the movie, there was nothing learned. Nobody learned from that. She didn't learn anything about him.
There was no resolve.
He didn't learn anything about her.
And if they did, they didn't share that.
He said thank you at the worst time. He did exactly what we knew that nigga was gonna do. He was gonna say thank you when it was already too late. And she acted like most women do when they're to the point of like, I don't know what to do in this relationship, but I hate it here. Because she didn't even take her clothes off when she got home. It was like they got there and she was already irritated and she was already moving around. And I felt like the whole time it was just about her having an attitude to prove a point, but she was too scared to prove her own point. And she only got the balls to prove her point in small doses. And when she proved her point, you still didn't even prove it right, because you didn't make your points about you and about what you were feeling necessarily. You just made it about what you wanted from him. It was like, yeah, you were mad that he didn't cast you. You were mad that he didn't say thank you. You were mad that he chose whatever, everything was about how it made you feel. And that's how, but I always try to say, I'm gonna play both sides. I feel like a lot of women do that. A lot of women are always, why aren't you thinking about me? Why aren't you thinking about me? But meanwhile, she was always thinking about him. Because I don't know if you noticed that one part in the fight where like they were fighting, and it was after she got out the bathtub and she was already like in that wife beater and like panties, and they had been smoking outside. And then he gets the review and he's trying to find his phone. Yeah, she's like, did you find your phone? And it was like the fight stopped. And it was like like they never were fighting. And I was like, this is a perfect example. This to me was a perfect example of what not to be like, and how you guys are just going to keep enabling this shitty behavior towards each other because you guys feel like, because you've dedicated time and effort into each other, that you have to deal with it. And she doesn't. And he doesn't, because the way she made that whole thing about her was fucked up. I don't care what you've been going through that day in that moment. And when he got his little shine, I don't give a fuck. That wasn't about you. He should have known way before he won or anything that you felt some type of way about not being casted in the movie, about not auditioning, about him taking your story and your life and turning you into some fucking character. You should have been spoke about that.
After she said, I read all these
copies
of the script.
You don't wait until he gets his award or whatever, and then you're like,
because it wasn't a surprise at that point. It just debuted for everyone, but it wasn't like, oh, this is new to you. He did this in secret, and then you're just seeing. Yeah,
it's just like when someone decides to tell you hey, it bothers me when you fucking leave the toilet seat up, and you're like, oh, well, it bothers me when you do this and you do this. It's like, okay, well, this is not the time to tell you that.
I feel like that duality of like, oh, but your phone's right here. I feel like all that showed is y'all toxic cycle of abuse, and that regardless, which a lot of people identify with, which I feel like everybody in a relationship, in an argument, has had those moments where something trumped over that argument. If y'all got kids, it's like the kids are sick, so we like, we gonna focus on, y'all ain't got no attitude towards each other because you're working on the kids. I get there's things, but I feel like that, and in those moments, and then you're worried about your phone because you worried about that thing. I would have went and found his phone and threw that shit out of one of them little janky windows into the forest or wherever. But because why are you so worried about your phone in the middle of our argument to further either justify how you feel in this or or deny me of how I feel.
Because those arguments don't matter to either one of them. The fact that she wasn't bothered and the fact that he didn't even think, fuck my phone because I'm in the middle of getting into it with the woman that I love, and she didn't even stop to get mad. She's used to him not caring about the fight. Yeah. So it was all it did was validate everybody else's shitty relationship.
I think it validates the fact that most people are damaged nowadays. I think it validates the people that most people have a need and a want. I feel like this was the comfortable form of therapy for people that will not commit to therapy. Mm-hmm. So this was the comfortable way of feeling like this happens to other people too.
Yeah.
And it's like, but what were y'all promoting? What was the love? What was the bond? What was the thing that
there
had
was nothing
y'all there?
Happy about this.
It was nothing.
It was
literally like I watched my friends argue after we all went out and got drunk, and y'all having the drunk argument that sobers y'all down and eventually comes down, and then y'all go to sleep, and I'm sitting here like, dang, I done sat here till 3 a.m. and now I gotta go drive home or whatever because I watched y'all argue trying to be chill and just sit here. But then it's like, y'all ain't worried about me. Y'all back in the bed together.
Because at the end of the day, all it did was show you that your toxic friends in their toxic relationship are going to stay toxic until they decide to not be toxic. Like real shit. That's all that movie really showed you. If it didn't teach you anything else, it should teach you don't get involved in your toxic friends' toxic shit because they're just going to stay toxic. They're just going to keep going through it. And when you see them being toxic and then being cool and then being toxic and then being friends again, they're in it and they're not going to get out of it. And the more you try to tell them to get out of it, they're not going to. Mm-hmm. And you know why I could say that? I did that. I was in it for a long time and I wouldn't get out. And she used to yell at me and she used to say stuff to me. And I would just be there like, I'm in here. And when I watched that movie, I was triggered because I was like, that was me. That was me.
It triggers everybody to
it
some
does.
extent.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of the most triggering movies we've had in 2021 because we haven't had that many movies yet.
And
so this is going to be
our
one.
age and the actors are the similar age. And I feel like it's just it hits all too common, especially after quarantine and people being in everybody's face and all that, whatever. But
people figuring out all their toxic shit through the quarantine. But hopefully the quarantine will be over pretty soon. I heard by the summer shit's supposed to be normal. We'll talk about that next week. Well, anyways, thanks for joining us, guys. Once again, thank you for showing us support, coming and watching us, calling in, everything. We're here every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. We're out. See you guys later. Thank you for coming.
Good night.
Peace out.